Hey, yo, this is Matt, and for this video, it's going to be in two parts. The first part is going to be checking out a new light that I got. And the second part is kind of similar to the last video where I'm going to be trying to match a shot from a movie, or in this case, a show. And it's not so much to match it perfectly. The main thing is I do want to kind of compare lightsabers. I'm going to be setting up a figure shot to match this Luke Skywalker scene from The Mandalorian. And then I'm going to kind of pose with this new lightsaber to kind of get a feel to see how the lightsabers look compared to like how I make them in Photoshop, how this one is, and how it looks in the show. Before getting to the different setups, I do want to give a thanks to SaberCustom, which is the company that made this saber, and they did send it to me to review and check out. One of the first things that I love about it, before even turning it on or anything, is just the way the hilt looks. It's so clean. I do have another lightsaber that I reviewed, and the hilt is kind of like a custom designed one. So it's not like a replica, which this is based off of Luke Skywalker's saber. And even with ones that they offer, this is, I think, the version 1, which they do have 2 and 3. And one of the biggest things that I see is the difference with the button. I do wish I had that one. I think it's the version 2 that has a little button on the side that looks like the actual lightsaber. This one doesn't, but it's okay. It's still mostly it still looks identical. And the only complaint, which you can kind of see, I'm going to put some gloves on in a minute, is that it does get fingerprints extremely easy, but that's part of it looking so clean and sleek and like it's metal. So let's get to it. Looking at what comes with the saber, it has a charging port because it does have an internal battery that you could charge, and then obviously the hilt and the blade. And the blade is attached using screws. So before the blade was attached, it had this little end cap to protect it. And these little screws have the Allen wrench that comes with it. And so there's two parts. There's one that's for the blade itself, and then there's other screws and another Allen wrench to disconnect the saber if you wanted to take it apart. And then the last thing, which is actually really helpful, is the instruction booklets. And I mean, normally I don't read these anymore, but it helped explain some of the pieces and features that we're going to look at right now. Kind of just running down some of the things that you can do. It mentions a LED, well, it says LED button. I kept looking for a light as well, or for the button to light up. I didn't see that on mine. So I kind of just figured it out, which is, it's half a second for this, 1 second for this, 2 seconds for this. And each of those control stuff, whether it's the volume, you can mute it, make it louder. You can turn it on and off, obviously. If you hold it and twist it, you can change the different effects. And they kind of categorize them, I guess, by Star Wars characters, but they don't name them that. It's like the princess, which I'm assuming is Leia, and then Dark Lord and all that. And then once the saber is on, there's also a bunch of other effects with the button, holding it and pushing it for clash effects. And then you can hold it to twist and change the color and select that. And so it is very easy. And then some of the motions that I do really like are going to be you can push to activate a stabbing motion. If you put push the saber, you motion it forward, then you push the button, you have that clash. And then if you push and motion, it's like a lightning effect. If you twist it, all the motion is captured, and it sounds really good. And so even though all of these are very easy to learn and figure out, the easiest and best way to kind of customize it, depending on how you're planning on using it and showing it off, is going to be with this app. And so this saber does connect with the app through Bluetooth, and it's a free app to download from the App Store, and it connected very easily to the saber. And once it is connected, it has all these different kinds of features that you can look at and change the time and the color and the motion, and you can even do effects, I guess, if you were filming a movie to kind of perfect time it or something like that. And then the volume and the colors, it has everything here on the app. And remember, this one that I did receive is the RGB or the XRGB. So it is just the light that emits through the blade. And they do have other versions that are more expensive it's kind of like an LED like panel throughout the whole blade parts. And like that one is way cooler, I think, because it's just way more control. And I think the lighting looks better because it's throughout the whole blade. But for this one being just the RGB version or the XRGB, like it's still really good, and it doesn't seem like it, but I'm sure if you can compare side to side, I'm sure the other pixel version like will look better, but yeah, this one still has a solid look to it. So looking at the scene that we're going to reference, and just like a quick thought, like I remember when this first came out, watching it with my wife and seeing like the X-Wing, it's like there's no way that's Luke, like that's crazy. And then he shows up and dominates, like, dang, this is crazy. And then it's his face. Definitely one of the best Star Wars moments ever. And so we're going to kind of recreate this part. Like I just kind of screen grabbed right here because I like it. I think it's one of the popular images from that. I think I've even tried to do a photo of it before in a different shot, but yeah, so I'm going to kind of pretend to do that. I think the saber looks good. I don't know if I look good enough, but that's what I came up with. I kind of added some fog. I try to make the lighting, because we can see in the image how the lighting is obviously coming from the top, because we can see his hand, like the top of his hand lit up, but the bottom is pretty dark. We do have some light from the saber, but it's not too like prominent green lighting up the background, which we'll do kind of in the toy photo as well. And then we do have some like other lighting from the side on his face, which is kind of where I had positioned my head, like top headlights pointing down. So my face lit up, and then it's obviously coming from the top. And then we have the background lights. And so these three little lights that I have aren't the same as this cool looking epic space door, but like I think it still gets the point across for what I'm trying to create. So now let's set up the toy photo and then break that down. For the buildings, I am using a diorama from Extreme Sets. Like, it looks super awesome, but don't be fooled because it is cardboard. But I mean, that doesn't change the fact that it looks awesome. And then I've done this before, but it's an awesome, perfect door to use as a frame, which is a photo tip that you'll see a lot, is find natural frames, for your shots. And so this, like, yes, the photo itself is a frame, but by using the door side, that's a frame in your photo frame. So don't want to get too crazy there, but you look for frames and when you're setting up your shots to add some depth to it. The Luke I'm going to be using is from J&B Toys. It's not an officially licensed Luke figure, and I like him a lot. He's not perfect, but I have him. I got him in a good pose, and it, like, just from like without looking at my camera, I really like it. I think it's a good start. I got his hand sticking out, lightsaber behind his head, and this setup for the most part should be good. So now kind of setting up the lights to see how that looks. I'm going to have one of the lights from the top, and at first I didn't have this cinefoil, but then I realized it's lighting up too much of the scene, and so I ended up applying the cinefoil to block it from hitting the backdrop, so that way it's just focused on Luke and this front part. And then it's tricky also because of his face is kind of lit up, but it's coming from the top, and then there's still some from the side. So I did have this bounce card, like a white paper that I'm bouncing to his face, and I think it's the perfect amount because it's not a direct light shining on his face. It might even be just light from the stormtroopers' bodies that are there, but yeah, like I think it's just enough to kind of see it, so it's not hidden in the darkness of his hood. And then I am going to add this other second light from the bottom. It's like a tiny little, make sure you check out that is going to light up, help light all the info in the bottom. And we're going to add next. So that's it. It's just those two lights with the bounce. But I didn't do this at first, checking out our reference shot again. It's not prominent green, smoke lighting up the whole scene. It's very controlled, but I still wanted to kind of add a little green in there. So for that, I'm going to use our new SaberCustom saber and set it to the green, and which is the green that I had used for my photo, and see how it looks with that. So saber, fog, plus the lights. That's the setup, and this is the shot that I got. So kind of looking at all three of the shots, we can see For sure, mine doesn't look the best. I think the saber looks good. Kind of looking at me, I could look a little bit cooler. You know, it kind of matches pretty well. Like I like, and then moving to my figure shot, I think that's really cool too. Like I'm happy with how it came out. I don't think I've ever, for some reason, like really compared side by side, like how I make my lightsabers to this. But the way I did it was, I mean, I do all my lightsabers in Photoshop. I have a few different tutorials that I've upgraded and changed over the years. But just real quick, I just make a line and then I copy the layer like 5 or 6 times, just depending on the scene. And then I kind of blur each of those down more and then less and less and less. And then I change the color and then boom, it's there. So it's a pretty simple process. Sometimes I'll add like different effects to it, or I might stretch it, or I'll bend it. I still have to do a tutorial over the swoosh that I've used in some other shots, kind of adding that motion. That's on the horizon. I will do that. But yeah, I'm happy with how it came out as far as matching it to, you know, the scene, and even like my whole lighting setup for doing it in my office real quick with the lights that I have. Like I like the colors. I did edit a little bit in Photoshop as well, but you know, like the most part, the colors, the lights, it was there, and the saber looks good too. So overall, I'm happy with this comparison, and I am happy with this lightsaber. Make sure you check out Saber Customs. I have all the info in the bottom, and create and inspire.